modified DLC pack also features the Federated Auto Parts Raceway and I-55 and will be available for digital purchase on the PlayStation and Xbox stores this month.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flags Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Live from Rossburg, Ohio, we welcome race drivers one and all here to yet another installment of the Racecraft Outlaw Sprint Car Series. We get set to kick off race number 3 from virtual Eldora Speedway. My name is Lorenzo. I've got Terry Radford beside me in the broadcast booth with the one and only Joshua Lee down behind the cameras for tonight's presentation. It's going to be a fun race then as we get set to go racing for what will be another exciting 35 laps of racing action here tonight, Terry. It's race number 3, and judging by how the first 2 races have gone, I think we're in for a real barn burner here tonight.
Well, this is one of the greatest racetracks of all time, in my opinion. I mean, you think Eldora, you think great dirt racing. I mean, most people, newer NASCAR fans, think, oh, it's a NASCAR track. No. This is an outlaw track, and this is a late model or a dirt late model track. This is the home of dirt racing, in my opinion. Tony Stewart took over this track a couple years ago and has made great upgrades to it. Bust his ass on that track. Opened in 1954, and it's a very rare clay that you find there. Not that crappy clay they put on Bristol to mock a dirt race. It's real clay in Eldora.
And of course, that clay is going to be giving us a real big show here tonight as we take a look at Google Earth sweeping all the way in from high above all the way down into Rossburg, Ohio, where this little half-mile clay oval sits nestled in between the farm fields and some good old ponds over off that back straightaway. You know it's going to be a fun race tonight as we'll be having 11 drivers getting set to do battle here for race number 4, in the Racecraft Outlaw Sprint Car Series schedule. But you take a look at the races coming on next up here, Terry. How about Williams Grove? I've often dubbed that track the Martinsville of dirt tracks for its long straightaways, followed into some of the hardest braking zones you'll honestly find out there, just short of what you get at the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, Williams Grove, I'm a big fan to look over there at Knoxville, Iowa. I go all the way to January 17th. I do love me some Williams Grove. I love Cedar Lake a ton, but if you look at Knoxville, or if you think you go down there and you go to Lima Land, that's a very fun racetrack to drive on the iRacing platform. And it stinks because all these people are looking at these tracks and they might be new to watching. They kind of missed out on the Black Friday deals.
It's going to be a fun race for tonight, and it's a tight points battle at the moment as well. Aiden Forster, of course, hanging on to the points lead. Josh Edmondson, though, reeling that gap in to just 2 points. Now it is 4 points separating your entire top 3 with Aiden Forster, Josh Edmondson, and Sean Winkler. All like you said, to see if they can do battle once again here for the race lead. Evan McFarlane has made his return to the Racecraft Outlaw Sprint Car Series competition. He sits 4th place, about 16 points back, but he is, of course, in the field tonight and is currently sitting on the front row, which would be pole position then for heat race number 2. So you've got all 4 of your top 4 drivers back in the field, and every one of them going to be looking to see if they can do battle, to see if one of them can finally stretch out this points lead. We can settle into a rhythm.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to settle into your rhythm here when you have 3 pro world champions fighting for the vie to call yourself a champion over here. Who knows? We might see people come up here and make the upset, but it's kind of hard to disagree with people who have, that the PWC in their license in front of their names. But Josh Edmondson's in the field. Obviously, you got Daniel Aish. He's in the field as well. Those are 2 very stout drivers that can come in here and put some stuff out there or not. And some people might not even qualify. We're looking here in our thing. They might want to start in the back. They might want to have a challenge to drive through the field and just potentially see if they can be the best of the best. And this is one place that you really have to drive. I mean, this is no slouch. You have to run the bottom, the top. You have to chase where the groove's at, find where you got grip. And there's Aiden right there. He's on track.
Aiden Bierlane, the last driver that has put down a qualifying lap. First time by, it's a 12.950 for the driver out of the Virginias. That is only good enough, though, for second from the bottom. Only 3,000 off that bottom spot. This time he throws to the inside of 3 and 4, crosses the line, and it will be a lap not logged. So Aiden Bierlane going to be starting from the tail end of one of your heat races here. Still got 2 minutes left in qualifying, but all drivers have finished their laps. They have all crossed over that checkered flag. So it should be an interesting one there tonight. It is 11 drivers, I think I have so far on my docket here to see who's going to be making the start. And we'll be having 2 heat races for us here on the night. We'll have 1 heat race with 6 and 1 with 5. Abbots have decided to push the session through, seeing as everybody's finished their qualifying laps. No point in waiting around for this last minute and a half. So heat race number 1 about to get underway. We'll take a rundown of your starting grid for this first heat race, holding your top 6 drivers. Ryan Hodge will be on pole position with Eric Whitner beside him on the front row. Dylan Baldwin will be down in third of the number 67 car, with Matthew Lind back in fourth. You got Aiden Forster going to be starting up there out of Michigan in the 5th position, and it is Sean Winkler out of the Northwest over down there in the number 6 position to round out a 6-car field for heat race number 1 here, Terry.
Yes, it's going to be exciting to see. I mean, you talked about Aiden being back there in the 5th place position. He's going to have to drive up there. I believe everybody's going to make this field with 11. This is just for your seeding. Obviously, you went qualified now. You have to learn something here. This is going to be okay. What gets rubbered in the fastest? What lane does what? Is the bottom going to be the fastest way around here? It should be the top. Obviously, you want to rim ride. You want to go all the way up there and get the top. You don't want to catfish at the bottom, do anything wild. You'll see all these drivers go up here and run it, and you're going to see a lot of dive bombs and slide jobs going on. I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at maybe I would say the 67 of Baldwin. That might be the person who comes out here and surprises this field.
You mentioned, of course, there's a possibility that everybody's going to be getting on into the feature tonight, and that is a guarantee. Every single driver you have in your field will be making a feature start here tonight. The only question that's on the minds is now where you're going to be starting. So these heat races are a prime opportunity for these drivers to practice some of the more offensive moves and even some defensive moves. Figure out what works, figure out what doesn't. Get all that squared away now, so that way you're in prime condition to go out and race as hard as you can for the 35-lap feature coming on up. And I would estimate probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes here or so. Meanwhile, Pace Truck's going to pull down into pit road. Want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us here on more Tuesday night action. Ryan Hodge jumps on the lap pedal. Green flags out. Heat race number 1. It's a getaway for the leader. Baldwin falling through for second. Here comes Eric Whitner powering for the second place on the top side.
Yeah, Baldwin jumps to the bottom here. He gets a really good run. Now the 17s, or the 71 of Eric is out to the outside. Very different start to what I saw. You see a crossover right here, goes to the bottom. Eric hits that low lane. He gets around Dylan, but what a difference to what I thought. I thought we would see more of the outside to middle groove start to work. They're running the bottom, and they're running it very effectively. They're cutting all the way down to the wall and sliding that thing up. So far, so good.
Well, the track is completely fresh, right? It hasn't been worked in at all. So until it is, that bottom lane will be the fastest way around, because these sprint cars have so much aerodynamic force that keeps these cars stuck to the clay as if they're on concrete contact. Since Dylan Baldwin up the track as he gets doomed by the Speed Shop 51 number 20 car of Aiden Forster, chopping back to the inside as Dylan Baldwin tries to make a run. in his number 67 machine. It's going to be crossover after crossover, but this time looks like Force has got the one secured for third. Got the turn number 3. Already 6 laps down, 4 to go from Eldora.
And these laps click off super quick. It's only a half a mile around here. So in a blink of an eye, you're 7 down, not to be 8. This is much different than what I'm used to coming and calling. Normally when I'm on Racecraft, I'm either calling trucks from the National Triple M Truck Series, or I'm calling a bunch of jumpy truck stuff with Pro 2s and Pro 4s. And don't worry to my mother out there watching. Tomorrow, you get your wish. I get to come call some more jumpy, Humpty Dumpty truck dirt race trucks. But this 19 of Ryan Hodge, man, what a wheelman, white flag.
Final lap, and you have a Ryan Hodge. Eric Whitner trying to make a run. This is for pole position here in the feature event, but he's not going to get there in 3 and 4. Eric Whitner will power off the final corner. He'll win heat race number 1 on what has been the cleanest heat race we have actually had so far all season long. For the first time, only one piece of contact and no drivers. Finally, was crashed out. That is a Racecraft first for the Outlaw Sprint Car Series. Hodge took the race win there with Eric Whitner down in second, and Forster back in third with Baldwin, Lind, and Winkler rounding out the field. Sean Winkler will be starting at the very back of your 11-car field. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. We'll move to heat race number 2 for your starting lineup. That holds the likes of Evan McFarland on pole position. Won the opening race. Look to see if he can get that second win here tonight. Josh Evanson will start beside him on that front row. Paul Mikolajczyk is down in third with Daniel Asian fourth. Aiden Bierlane, after he had an abysmal qualifying effort, starts back in fifth.
I like how you pointed it out about it was the first green, clean, barely any contact. I'm not sure if I could say this on the air, but I'm going to say it. Yeah, I'm Terry. These drivers are badasses. Like, just across the board. All of these drivers who showed up, I actually sit down. I caught some of them live when it came to the races for here. Normally I'm doing college series, but I went back and watched some of these races. And every one of the things that I saw was these drivers 1,000% of the time giving it all. Like, I mean, if you could send it, they sent it. If they felt it was comfortable, but they had fun doing it. It wasn't like overly competitive. There wasn't a whole lot of drama behind it. They all just laughed and was like, this is fun. This is what racing is. And I encourage anybody watching this, if you're looking for something to do on a Tuesday night, that if you want to sling some damn dirt, come on out here and sling some dirt, because, well, I don't think you're going to be able to race with many world champions any other time, but you got an opportunity, and they're willing to teach too.
It's not easy to throw these 410 sprint cars around a track that's as quick as Eldora without making contact, especially in such close quarters, especially since you make contact in these cars. Typically, it means you find yourself flipping out of the race and into the fence. We'll see if he can keep it clean through heat race number 2 as well. Green flag drops, and once again, McFarland powers off and away on a good getaway. Side by side for third, though, behind them. Second place going to pull clear as well, while Aiden Bierlane tries to make a run to Mikolajczyk. Can't get the run. He'll bobble off the bottom, and Mikolajczyk hangs on to third place, while Josh Evanson tries to make a run for the race lead.
Yeah, Edmondson coming up here. He's very strong at the moment. I mean, he started second, sits second, trying to catch McFarland. But you talked about Paul. I'm not going to try to butcher his last name, because that's exactly what I would do if I wanted to talk about the 65 there. But he's side by side with Aiden here. He's going to get past, but he's going to fight back hard on that outside. He gets a good run. Berlin pops down to the bottom. He's trying to make it work. Oh, slide crossover. And we go back to the bottom.
Bierlane slides up, and it's another crossover. Slide job from Mikolajczyk, while Bierlane sends it up the bottom. The battle is on for third. Slider after slider as Mikolajczyk works that 65 JRB Designs machine down on the bottom side. Bierlane, though, powering back in the ABR setup shop, number 13. And these guys are allowing the top 2 to continue to break away. There'll be 4 to go this time by.
Yeah, I don't think they care about going up there and winning this. They're having some fun. I mean, how many times can you see drivers making moves like that without making contact? They're going to the outside, inside, trying to make every little spot of this racetrack work, and they haven't even worked the top end. I mean, you still see a lot of clay up there. The leaders are starting to try to work it in. McFarland got up there, and he's starting to maybe get a little bit more of that cushion. He's trying to push it all the way up to the wall. But holy crap, these drivers are almost smacking the wall off the corner. I tell you one thing I'd be doing though, I'd probably be in the catch fence by this time.
White flag this time by. Fight is on for the race lead. Down to turn 22. They're side by side down the back straightaway. Edmondson sending it up the inside of Evan McFarland.
Come on, Josh.
Can't get there. Evan McFarland hangs on, and he'll start outside front row in about a few minutes' time. What a run for Evan McFarland. Powers his way around the top shelf. Not as close as the 2,000th of a second heat race win we had, but a close one nonetheless. Edmondson tried to throw the Hail Mary up the inside of 1 and 2. Didn't work for him, though. McFarland takes the heat race win. Aiden Bierland was back in third with Paul Mikolajczyk in fourth. And Daniel Aish rounds out your top 5 field. And that will round it out for heat race number 2. Got ourselves a bit of warm-up coming on up here, but Terry, what a mad couple of heat races, and we're about to double that field size just about and go race it again for another 35.
I'm not biased or nothing. I wanted Josh to win that. Josh is he's a good old boy. I enjoy sitting in Discord with him and talking. This whole group from the Racecraft family is super fun. I really wanted him to win that one though, because I thought that would have been pretty cool. But this is, I don't know why I haven't done this. I really don't know why I've never just sit down and called dirt. Like I've been so protective of, I don't want to sound stupid.
Oh, trust me.
Why haven't I done this?
It's fun, and it's mad fun, and we hope you're going to be back for us with more in a little bit, and hope our viewers will stick around as well. You've got yourselves a 35 lap McConey Setup Shop feature event coming on up in just a few moments. We'll take a quick step away. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
Modified DLC pack also features the Federated Auto Parts Raceway and I-55 and will be available for digital purchase on the PlayStation and Xbox stores this month.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that McConey Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at McConey Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, McConey Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to McConeySetupShop.com and learn why McConey Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to virtual Rossburg, Ohio, and the Eldora Speedway, where we're about to get set to go racing here for race number 4 of the Outlaw Racecraft Sprint Car Series for what has been so far a very entertaining race tonight. Terry, you've obviously been here from the drop of the green flag on the opening heat race here tonight, and it's been one of the best shows we've had so far yet. Do you reckon that reputation will carry over to the future?
Hell yeah. My blood's pumping. I'm ready to see 11 drivers come out here, fight, beat, bang, get up against that wall, rip the lip all the way up there, try to jump it. I want to see somebody fence ride before this race is over.
Of course, about to get set to go racing for your Makoni Setup Shop feature event. The official setup shop of Rise Esports and partners with JR Motorsports. Makoni Setup Shop has the setups that you need to succeed. From asphalt to dirt, Makoni Setup Shop has a professional team of builders for each series, whether it be street stocks at Charlotte or the 410 sprint cars at Eldora, like we got right here tonight. For pricing and plans, head on over to MakoniSetupShop.com today. They're their setups, but they are in fact your victories. 10 seconds remain in qualifying before we get set to go racing for your Makoni Setup Shop feature event. 11 drivers have duked it out so far tonight. 0.36 and 0.206 have been the margin of victory so far in both the heat races tonight, where your front row of Ryan Hodge and Evan McFarlane will be sitting. So far, the way the trend is sat, Terry, the driver that starts on pole has won the race. We'll have to see if that'll carry on over into our main event as we get set to go racing for 35 more laps here tonight. So as we click things over, let's take a look at your starting grid for your Makoni Setup Shop feature event. Ryan Hodge is on pole position with Evan McFarlane beside him on the front row. Eric Whitner is down in third place with Josh Edmondson in fourth. Aiden Forster and Aiden Beerlane, excuse me, Terry, will be rounding out the top 6.
You can go back there to 7th, and that's where we're going to find Dylan Baldwin. You'll find Paul, I'm just going to call you Paul M. And Matthew Lindsay with Daniel H. and Sean Winkler back there in 11th. You go try to say that name. How do you say Paul?
Mikolajczyk.
Mikolajczyk?
There you go. That's
right,
at least
Paul,
that's
Paul
at least what Josh has said in my ear, and I'm not about to correct him out of fear of being wrong myself. So
you never correct the producer. If he says it's Paul Mikolajczyk, it's Paul Mikolajczyk.
All 11 cars have gridded on up, and well, as our producer Josh Williams just said in our ears again, he's never corrected me before. So, Paul, if you happen to be watching this back, if your name is wrong, well, now you know who to blame. You can go straight to the source.
Hashtag blame Josh.
We're spreading some good old blame Arjuna memes, it would seem, over from from RaceSpot TV over here to Racecraft. But well, we get set to go racing for 35 more laps here from Eldora Speedway. And well, Terry, I'm going to say it outright. You were pretty good to see Josh getting the win there. He was number 2. You think you'll be able to do it again in the feature tonight?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I've got a couple buddies that are in here. Daniel back there in 9th is a good, cool dude, and we play late night poker together. So obviously Gecko out there in the chat. So Gecko enjoys it, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people in here that's fast and very good to do. I gotta go with Aiden though. I think Aiden Forster is gonna be your winner.
Aiden Forster, he's started a bit further down the order, back in that 5th position, so it's going to be a fair bit of work here that Forster's going to have to take if he wants to get himself up there on pole position here tonight. For now, though, Pace Truck is going to pull down a pit road. Green flags out immediately. We're hightailing it back down into turn numbers 1 and 2. Whitner making the jump, trying to go for the race lead, and we're going to be hightailing it back down into 3 and 4. Hodge still holds the race lead, but he's washing up the track. Whitner trying to chase him down, but it's Hodge lead lap number 1.
All right, we got a bet out there in the chat from Gecko, $10 on Eric. Eric Whitner being in the 2nd place right now. He's trying to follow Ryan Hodge, and we saw 3 wide there for a second. I saw Spark from the drivers hitting the wall, just barely scraping it. They're trying to go 2-3 wide all down this half-mile racetrack. I don't know why people ain't watching this, because this is super fun. Look at them just sliding.
And Eric Winder gets up into the outside wall for second place. It's going to be Aiden Forster to make that dive up for the second position. Boy, they're still duking out side by side back in the field as well. This has been McFarland trying to throw it up the inside of Aiden Beerlane. Beerlane crosses him over now. Down the next straightaway into turn number 3. The 13 car holding strong as Beerlane rockets off of turn number 4. Down the first straightaway already. We're past lap number 5. Settled into the rhythm of things so far, and it's looking to be a very clean start, all things considered.
Yeah, look at right here. The 13 yanking the wall right up there, finding a lot of speed. He's picked up quite a bit. I mean, you look here, he just put down a 13.1. He was the second fastest driver on the racetrack that time. He has the second fastest lap as well. Aiden Forster just jumped into second. He's actually the fastest with a 13.12. And at that time, Aiden Berlin, he was the fastest driver there. And you see side by side back here, Edmondson starting to come through the field. He's trying to get past some of these drivers, catch up to that 13. He moves into the top 5, and he lost when he moves back into the top 5 finally, trying to get back to his starting position of 4th.
Paul Migueliche making moves as well. He just ducked inside the bottom of the 7th position. Meanwhile, he got your top 4 as Migueliche gets out of shape over turn number 4. The top 4 in a breakaway at the moment, and Migueliche got up into the outside wall. Hang on to it. 65 is going to do so. Kind of flirting with that outside wall with the right rear tire. He's going to try to dive it down. Meanwhile, big defensive move from Josh Edmondson. Down the first straightaway. Down the ball up. He's into the wall now. Sliding outside. We're going to get himself sorted almost 3 wide. Down the next straightaway. Bowling off the spot. Edmondson taking it up down to the second position. 6 points overall. Migueliche gets run over by Evan McFarland. Meanwhile, it's a 4-car blanket for about 5th on back to 8th.
Man, this is baller. Everybody's in there. Look at the side job here. Baldwin trying to work his way down. That's Migueliche, sorry. There's Baldwin behind him, trying to put a move there on Josh Edmondson as well. He almost made contact. Slide job against Migueliche. Now it's 3 wide here for this 5th place position. They're dicing it up like an onion.
Dylan Baldwin bump traffic Josh Edmondson. Turn number 2, the last time by. Impossible in sprint cars, but here we are. Migueliche shooting to the inside once again of Josh Edmondson. Going to shoot clear up across the nose. Edmondson diving it back though into turns 3 and 4, and already 15 down, 20 to go. Migueliche trying to throttle back around the top side, while Edmondson gonna get that slide one to the bottom. That bottom lane starting to slick off as we get that line rubbered in, and that's forcing drivers to move further and further up towards the outside line. Meanwhile, the top 4 still in the fight of their own. Eric Winder trying to look up the inside of Aiden Forster. This is the fight for second, with race leader Ryan Hodge not able to break away.
So it is the battle for the lead. It's a 4-car blanket all the way back to Berlin. He's caught up to him, and it's 0.2 of a second separating across this board, making a second all the way back from 1st to 4th. And then it's just 0.2 all the way down to the next car in front of them. And they're all running very similar lines. You saw Ryan Hodge there. He went to the bottom just a little bit. He was following the 3, who's about to go a lap down here. And there we go. Battle for the lead has heated up. Forrester jumps to the bottom. He slides it. 19 goes down. He wants the lead back. Whew. But they got to stop. My heart can't take this.
It's not over yet. Aiden Forster trying to fight back. 15 laps to go. He's going to slide it up once again in front of Ryan Hodge. Hodge can't go for race lead. The 27 once, twice, 3. They want to save it though. Winner's going to make the opportunity for second place happen here, and that will allow for Ryan Hodge to pull himself a little bit of breathing room as Winner throws a Hail Mary slide job up in front of the 20 to try to clear for the second position. Couldn't do so, and now Forster has secured himself that second place. Here comes Aiden Beerlane now making the move. 3 wide for second place. Washington 20.
Oh my gosh. He parked it right in front of him. Oh no!
Winner slides it out down to the bottom, but he's able to just barely hang on to the car. Somehow we don't have cars overturning to the outside wall. Ryan Hodge has broken away in a big way. Aiden Forster now is right behind Aiden Beerlane. Now, if you're Aiden Forster, you want to play this smart. You want to run behind Beerlane. Let him pull you up to Ryan Hodge. Otherwise, you're not going to have a shot for the win with only 10 laps to go.
Oh my gosh. Why haven't I done more of this? Why have I not done more dirt and wanted to do this? this is phenomenal. I mean, it feels like we just started. We're 10 to go. About to be 9 to go. And there's been more racing in this blink of an eye than most leagues show. Oh, gosh. This is fantastic. I don't know if the 13 can catch him, though. I think Ryan Hodge, I think he's got this. It's going to take the 13 a little bit of a Hail Mary.
He's got a fierce three-way fight, though, right in front of him with a bunch of lap traffic, including Aish, Winkler, as well as the likes of Dylan Baldwin. So he's about to get checked up by a lot of lap traffic here, so you never know what could happen here. Trying to work your way around the lap traffic. This is going to get tight here in a hurry. Beer lane hightailing it right up by the wall, trying to take off after Ryan Hodge, as he'll take 6 laps left to go. And no drop so far with lap traffic. Baldwin almost takes out the leader, nearly takes out second place as well. Beer lane though has cleared. He's got that outside line, trying to run down Ryan Hodge. 5 laps to go.
Oh, he's ripping the mess out of that. Look at him in the corner. He's sailing that sucker. Oh, the Hodge, he's that issue. He's off the wall, sailing over the lead. Oh, we got it.
Starting up. Ryan Hodge hangs on. 4 laps to go. Ryan Hodge takes the lead back, but now here comes Beer lane, trying to once again throw it to the bottom side. It'll be 3 to go this time by.
Yeah, he goes to the bottom here, and he brings it down. But then you go look at the exit. You see Hodge. He's able to pull away from that 13 machine. Back against the wall he goes, barely just putting that right rear fender on it. A little bit of that tire action touching the wall, trying to get as much grip to keep that car as straight as possible. I mean, he's doing everything he can to go up here and try to get this lead. It's going to be 2 to go when we come around.
White flag coming out this time by. 1.5 laps left to go. Beer lane's got 1 chance, 1 lap to make this one happen. He sends it to the inside. White flag's in the air. Slide job up in front of Aiden Beer lane, trying to clear Ryan Hodge. Hodge gets him back. 1 more attempt down to turn number 3. It's an almighty save.
Send it.
Can't get there. Ryan Hodge will hang on, and he will win race number 4 from Eldora, but only just.
We need more of this. Can we do another one?
Holy cow, what a race. That is how you have a proper sprint car race right there. You don't need a big field.
I want more.
You don't need a big field to have a good race on dirt. You just need to have a competitive one. And a competitive field we certainly have got. It's one of the closest feature margins we've had all season long. Just a 1/10 of a second as Aiden Beer lane went for an almighty send into turn number 3. It might have happened had he not bobbled off the bottom. Ryan Hodge takes the race win. Aiden Forster will round on the podium. We'll talk to all of them in just a moment. Paul McElligott making a great recovery up to the 4th position with Josh Edmondson in 5th. And Evan McFarland, Terry, was the last driver to finish on the lead lap back in 6th.
Yeah, you got Baldwin back there in 7th, Sean Winkler, Daniel Aish, Matthew in the 3 back there in 10th, and rounding out the 11 car field was Eric Whitner. 10 laps down, he caught that wall, but oh my. Why I want to do these? I want more dirt.
Holy moly, that's about as good of a race as you're going to be able to get out here on the ovals. We don't quite have Ryan Hodge just yet, so we'll start from the bottom and we'll work our way up. We'll kick it off with Aiden Forster, who ended up finishing this race in a bit of no man's land. Aiden, you finished it back in 3rd place. You had 2 seconds up to the leaders, but you had a good 6 seconds back to Paul McElligott, so it's a quiet 3rd place for you. Why don't you walk us through what that intensity was like, though, fighting for the lead there?
Yeah, the car was really good up until, my teammate and I made contact in 3 and 4, and after that, the car was just not the same. It was broke, so I was just hanging on, and we managed to get a 3rd place.
So, obviously, this has been one of the more exciting races that we've had so far throughout the Racecraft Outlaws Sprint Car Series season, and this time you found yourself caught right up in the fray of it. It's one of the faster tracks we go to on the season. Why don't you walk us through kind of what it's like to have to, basically dogfight these lightweight 410 sprint cars when you're ripping it at over 100 miles an hour through these through this clay oval?
Yeah, it's crazy because the cars are very darty, and when you're that close to the wall, you have to be very smooth on the wheel. It's definitely a challenge, and any little contact can send you for a ride. So we'll come back next week, and I don't know what's on the schedule for next week, but we'll be here.
Well, it is going to be Williams Grove up next week. Some people love it. Some people hate it. It's one of the most unique dirt tracks you get out there. What's the take on it?
Yeah, it's a very racy track. I mean, you normally see a bottom come in, a top come in, a middle come in. I mean, one of the racier tracks on the service, one of the toughest tracks on the service. So, it'll be a fun race.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight then here, Aiden from Eldora Speedway, and best of luck next week then at Williams Grove.
Thank you, guys.
That was our good friend there, Aiden Forster, joining us from the third place. We'll move on up to our second place and our runner-up by only about a 10th and a quarter of a second. And Tara, you're standing by with Aiden Beerlane.
Man, I don't know what you had left in there, but man, you sure sent it. What did you need to get up there and win this thing?
Probably a caution, but it made it more entertaining without one. We're definitely the quickest car. It's just coming through the back on a field like this is definitely tough, and there's a blast coming through the field.
Well, obviously you had a couple sliders there. Did you expect him to cross back over? Or did you kind of think that maybe you could park it in front of him and get him to check up just a tad bit to maybe give you the opportunity to take the run?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I knew he was going to cut down, and I mean, I would do the same thing. It's how you're supposed to do with these things, and cut down line is really, really fast now, the line in itself, and slider line's been slow as of recent around this track, so it just made it harder to pass, but I mean, it put on a great show for the fans, and that's what matters.
Put on a great show for me. About made my heart come out for a second, but what do you think next week? Williams Grove, guy before you said that it was a very racy track, had an opportunity for a three-lane racetrack. You gonna call your shot and go out there and win that thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the best. That's the probably top two best on the I can't speak. It's top two best track on the sim, for sure. It's on dirt oval at least. It's just there's always two grooves. Sometimes there's 3 to 4 grooves, and it's always great racing there for sure.
Well, congratulations on your second place here tonight, and Nolan, 2 Aidens back to back. We'll split this Aiden party up, and you got Ryan Hodge.
I sure do, and Ryan Hodge going to take us up here now into victory lane. And Ryan, you took the race win from the pole, but boy, you had to work for it in those last laps. Why don't you walk us through it?
Yeah, I mean, I knew Beerline was going to throw a couple sliders with me. I mean, he was faster car. My set went away, did a couple wing adjustments, and it just really didn't work out late. I knew he was going to throw a couple sliders, so I cut down, and it just worked out.
I mean, this has been one of the I would say one of the hardest races you've had so far all season long in terms of trying to put that car up in victory lane. I mean, especially when you're catching up to all that lap traffic, they're fighting that obviously for their own positions in front of you. Was that ever a concern at all about having to work your way through them with the likes of Beerlane running you down?
Well, it was very concerning knowing that I didn't know what line they were going to take, and I knew Beerline, he was ripping the boards wide open, so I just really had to make a good move, and if it stuck, it was good.
Well, you certainly made it stick here tonight, and obviously you've got Williams Grove coming on up next. Do you plan to see if you can go for the double over there next week?
We're going to be testing out a bunch of setups. I mean, that's one of my worst tracks, especially in the sprint cars. Late models is a little bit better, but sprint cars is probably one of the worst tracks.
Well, you'll be getting yourself up in that double. Practice always pays off, so we'll let you get back to it then and start prepping up for the next week. Thank you for joining us tonight here, Ryan, and congratulations on a hard-earned first place.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that was Ryan Hodge joining us up here in the booth tonight, and what a night! I mean, that was about one of the best races that we could have hoped for here tonight. It was caution-free and almost incident-free as well, but boy, did it ever have a whole lot of entertainment. A lot of action, a lot of cars sliding it outside to side. You couldn't ask for a better race than Eldora. You said it yourself, Terry. Eldora just screams great dirt racing, and it delivered tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to introduce a guy like me into the dirt scene, right? You put races like this. It doesn't matter if you've got 10, 11, 15, 40 cars out there racing. Eldora is the spot for racing. I mean, I would say it's one of the epicenters of dirt. Obviously, you got the Knoxville Nationals. You got the Chili Bowl. when I think dirt, I think Eldora. Great clay, great racing, multi-groove. Williams Grove next week is going to be super fun. Or the next race, I don't know if it's next week. My math and calendar's all messed up, but good passing to the bottom. You could sweep it from top to bottom. You could sweep it back to the wall. I can't wait. We'll circle these Tuesdays to come have a good time, like our friends out there in the chat say.
It is Williams Grove coming on up next. It is the Martinsville of short tracks. A half mile, but look at all the long straights and the hard braid zones, and it is a flat track as well. So it's going to be a very fun race coming on up next. On December the 13th, we get set to go racing once again to the Racecraft Outlaw Sprint Car Series. But for now, from Rossville, Ohio, or Rossburg, Ohio, excuse me, at the Eldora Speedway. It's been a fun night, but it's time for us to close things out. I've been Old Ramble with Terry Rabbit beside me in the broadcast booth, and Joshua Lee down behind the cameras for tonight's presentation. Thank you for joining us for more weekly action for the Racecraft Outlaw Sprint Car Series. We'll see you all next week for more.